What is going on, gang-a-lang? We are back with another tier list, and this time around the Joe Dog is going to hone in on his speciality because I was telling Donald and Barack that I want to do another smells tier list again, but this time I will be ranking only the worst of the worst smells when it stinks so bad that it just smells so good and you can't get enough of it.
Well, when a grown-ass man is crying because you poked a little fun at him during the last video and begs to have another smell tier list, there's only so much you can do.
You could have most definitely not made fun of him. That probably would have been the first thing I would have recommended, and then we wouldn't be here right now.
Not, it was worth it if you ask me. Anytime I can humiliate and belittle Joe, you know my ass has to take it. It's too good of an offer.
Well, I love when you do that, so this seems like a mutually beneficial relationship if you ask the Joe Dog. I love to be made fun of. It hits me in all of my good funny spots and makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside because I know that you're thinking of me, Donald. But enough of our lover story because I have to lock the hell in because this is an important tier list to me because this is another smells list, and without further wasting time, we can start this bad boy. And up first, we have the smell of straight gasoline. Now this has to go into a banging A tier for me, like you can't tell me otherwise, because this is just the smell of pure ethanol, and whenever I'm pumping my gas tank, I can't help but to secretly take a strong whiff or two. Sometimes I just like the smell so much that I just pour it into a container, and man, oh man, I can stay huffing it all day long because it makes me feel so good. It must be because of how good and addicting the smell is.
Joe, the reason you like it so much is because you're probably getting high off the fumes that the raw gasoline is giving you. You don't like the smell, you like that it gets you high.
Can't blame a brother for working for his high. Joe, you keep doing what you're doing, and remember that you can always huff glue, paint thinner, paint itself, and so many more things.
You think I'm some sort of amateur or something, Donald? Of course I know I can huff some glue and paint thinner. Hell, I start my campfires with paint thinner just because I enjoy the fumes that come from it, and it makes my blue Gatorade dogs taste even better when I give them a nice jar by the fire. But again, I must save that for my Joe cookbook because up next we have our first D tier entry with the rotting flesh smell, and the Joe Dog likes a good stink. Don't get him wrong. But this is straight up like one of the worst smells any human can ever imagine. I should know because one time for a social experiment, I tried to make some jankum because I saw a documentary where all these kids from Zambia were using that to get high, and I wanted to make some at home, but I didn't want to shit in the bottle because I was afraid I'd miss. So I had leftover anchovies and just shoved them all in a bottle and got them to rot as much as possible. Like I had that bottle of, and I left it out in the sun for around 2 weeks and took a whiff, and for the first time in my life, the king of swallowing could not keep it in his mouth, and I puked a little. I'm ashamed.
What in the living fuck?
What, man? I just wanted to experiment and make some good old-fashioned jankum, but alas, it does not work with anchovies, so the next time I do it, I'm gonna have to let it rip inside a bottle instead of a toilet. Enough of that though, because up next on our list we have stinky breath, and this one is a certified C tier. Like this is absolutely the worst smell that anyone can have coming out of their mouth, and I need them to brush their teeth. Because if the Joe Dog is trying to take you to Pound Town and you're over here with some rank-ass breath, man, I'm gonna have to stop everything I'm doing and politely tell you that your breath is stinky as hell and you need to brush it right now.
Joe, that is ironic as hell coming from you, because me and Barack know firsthand that you literally have the worst breath out of everyone that we know. We've mentioned it in other videos, and we quite literally smell it whenever you say anything to us. I use the term Sunday breath from that one SpongeBob episode jokingly, but like there's no other better way to describe how gross your breath is, because goddamn Joe, I swear it can kill things with how nasty it is.
Okay, but can we get a second opinion on that? Because you may just be scared of my aura, and Barack has a better understanding on these things.
No, Joe, everything Donald said is 100% true, and you need to brush your teeth way more often.
This is a load of fake news. I refuse to believe this because I know the baddies love my primal mouth smell. Speaking of good smells, I have a triple S tier ranking coming up next with the nutsack, body odor, and farts. Now hear out the Joe Dog on this because you will all soon understand what I'm saying. These are all like musky and good stinky smells because every man knows that feeling of scratching your balls and then giving it a good huff. I'll sometimes just rub my balls and just give myself a good whiff. And it's so enchanting and intoxicating that I just can't stop, and the same applies for the other two because sometimes you let out a fart and it just stinks so good that you just continuously huff it because you're so proud of the smell that came out of you. Same with the body odor, because if you go a couple of days without showering, you get this manly aura of stink on you, and sometimes you just raise your hand ever so slightly and the stench of onions just emanates from you like some sort of beacon of stink, and goddamn, I love that. I'll stay huffing that harder than paint, and I'll get a little chub off just smelling my armpit stink.
You had me in the first half with the nutsack comments, because what kind of man doesn't do the tried and true scratch and sniff with his boys every now and then? But you lost me with the chub stuff, bro.
That's where he lost you, not the fact that he sniffs his balls, and apparently you do it too.
Barack, every dude does it. Just like how sometimes dudes piss and don't wash their hands because you only touched your wiener, so like no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. You are disgusting.
Barack, if I told you the amount of times we've shaken hands after I pissed and opted to not wash my hands, you'd probably have a heart attack, because that's 90% of our handshakes. Don't worry, man. I implore you to just give the scratch and sniff a little test ride, and you will know how amazing it truly is. What isn't amazing but also isn't awful is our next entry, which is cat litter, and I have this going into B tier. It's not really the worst of smells, but I mean, I can get why people don't like it. I will say, though, that cat litters with some human poop is a different story, because I bought some odorless cat litter the other day, and I wanted to test how good it truly was, and let me just say that it does not work for humans.
Joe, why did you even do that? You don't even have a cat.
Like I said, I did it all in the name of science. I'm a bit of a tester / inventor, and I am actually quite respected in the scientific field.
Yeah, probably the special needs one.
Well, I am quite special, yes. That is what my mom used to tell me, so thank you, Donald. Well, anyways, after that, we now have rotten eggs, and I actually have this going into C tier because I may have a bit of a hot take, but I don't think rotten eggs are truly as horrible as our next entry, because I have throw up going straight to jail, and I'm putting this into D tier. Like, if you told me I had to choose between smelling puke or smelling rotten eggs, I'm taking rotten eggs all day, and I don't care what anyone says. I just can't handle the smell of puke from someone ugly like that guy from the photo. But if it were a hot girl, I'd probably actually like it and ask for a cup full for later usage.
You guys ever see that video where the image is from that dude just kept puking on himself and didn't even get up? He did all that at a baseball game too. Like, bro, he could have gone to the bathroom. It's not like he's gonna miss much since it's fucking baseball.
That's what you took from all that. Not the fact that Joe said he'd be okay with a hot girl's puke and that he'd actually use it later for God knows what.
Well, the Joe dog needs lubrication for all sorts of things. So I don't know why you're surprised, Barack. Sometimes a man's got to do what a man's got to do, and I don't think you understand that. Well, moving on to our next entry, we now have something that I may have to talk you guys into, because I actually have garbage going into B tier, and let me explain. See, garbage is just thrown away stuff. So this is actually just a randomized smell, and let's say that you have a bunch of garbage from a food place. It'll probably smell rotten or somewhat bad, and I would agree. But if you get garbage from a coffee place, it'll only smell like coffee, and it'll actually smell really good and can even be utilized as makeshift cologne. I learned that on the streets, and if you want to be even fancier, you can just sift through the garbage from a perfume place or somewhere fancy, because all that garbage will smell amazing.
You know what? Out of everything you've said today, that happens to be the thing that makes the most sense. And I think placing this smack dab in the middle is quite appropriate, given that the smell can change based on the location and where you get the garbage from.
I told you, man, just let the Joe dog cook, because the Joe dog knows how to make a banging list. Up next, though, we have an absolute no-brainer, because coochie sweat goes straight to the top. I don't want to hear nothing about it, because this is where this godly creation belongs. I want this to be bottled and sold as perfume, or even bottled and sold as an energy drink, because I will get all of my electrolytes from this and love every single sip.
Joe, I couldn't agree more. Remember that the Don is a certified eater, and that doesn't apply to food only, and I can agree that a little stank ain't hurt nobody, and sometimes adds some flavor.
Okay, this is gross. Can we just move on?
Figures that Barry would be the one to find this gross. Doesn't surprise a single soul. But yeah, we'll move on just because you're my buddy. Well, up next, we have an A tier with the wet dog smell, and this might be weird to some, but as a dog owner, I just have to let you all know that you get used to the wet dog smell, and this dog is shampoo in the photo, so really, if you take that into account. The dog would actually smell pretty damn nice, considering you probably got all the muck and grime off him, and then you proceeded to put some nice smelling soap or shampoo on him that probably makes him smell like roses or something. So yes, I would love to sniff the hell out of that dog, and I am not ashamed of it. What I'm ashamed to sniff is the next entry, because goddamn, this is an absolute stinker of a D tier, because I used to think that skunks couldn't be that bad of a smell. But for once I was proven wrong when I provoked one into spraying me in the name of science, and it just smelled like a combination of something rotten mixed with garlic and burnt rubber. My nostrils were fried for like a whole week and I couldn't smell anything after, and I was so damn pissed.
Why would you even get yourself sprayed in the name of science? What scientific community is asking for this? Who would even want any of this info?
Oh, it's the smelling forums online where we talk about what smells turn us on the most. And a dude swore that after getting sprayed by a skunk, he had a stiffy that lasted weeks and never smelled something better. Banned his ass from that forum because I'm an admin on there.
Of course you are.
What is going on, gang-a-lang? It's your boy Don, the man, the myth, the champion eater, and today we are back with another top-tier, gold-plated, juicy, thick tier list. And folks, this time we are diving face first into the world of fast food mascots.
Fast food mascots, baby. They help guide us and tell us what food we will bang out next. I swear that I saw Ronald McDonald more than my own father growing up, and I turned out just fine.
We'll debate that part later, but yeah, today we're ranking the most iconic, disturbing, and oddly seductive fast food mascots of all time.
Weird that you randomly threw in the word seductive there, but hey, I won't disagree. That's enough talking because I do not want to hear Barack's voice more than my own on this lovely tier list, because you all should already know that the Don takes very few things seriously, but when it comes to food, I will be as serious as a doctor telling someone they have full-blown AIDS. Well, let's start, and we will rate Ronald McDonald first. The Godfather, the greasy jester. This bad boy gets an automatic S tier. He didn't walk so others could run. He cartwheeled.
Ronald is marketing mastery. Red hair, yellow suit, big red shoes. You could spot him from a mile away. That man had brand awareness before influencers were even born. So I am quite happy with this entry, Donald.
Also, real talk, he is hot as hell. Like, imagine you're having a breakdown in a parking lot, and Ronald just gently offers you a happy meal and whispers into your ear. Something sensual, and you can't help but get a chub from how delicately he whispers into your head with his beautiful voice. And you can feel something brewing deep inside of you, and you can't help but recognize your feelings. It's for him, but before you muster up the courage to say something, he's already way ahead of you and inviting you to play in the play place with all the little kids, and you just know that you're about to have a wonderfully wet night.
Joe, no one wants to picture Ronald in any type of romantic setting with you.
Speak for yourself. I picture him that way nightly. He's just got that aura to him. That makes me want to tear him a new one, and he smells like happiness and barbecue sauce.
Joe, you have managed to make the most wholesome mascot sound like someone who should be on the sex offenders list with that play place comment earlier. And now you're just telling us you have naughty dreams about him. What the hell, man?
Okay, in all fairness, despite him being a legend, he admittedly does look like he belongs on some sort of list. But still, if you see someone ranking him lower, then they have to either really hate McDonald's, which is blasphemy itself, or they are just such big haters that they cannot recognize greatness. But anyways, next up, the creepy-ass plastic-faced royalty himself, the Burger King King. He's going to get a solid B tier. He's iconic but weird. I just don't like how he looks, but damn, you all know who he is.
He looks like he sleeps in his crown, and possibly with multiple other bodies. I do not feel safe whenever I see him on the TV.
He also definitely smells like dry onion shavings that probably fell into Lizzo's ass crack, and probably the smell of some man musk or some other powerful odor. And I respect that. I should know more than anyone else in the world that there's power in being unwashed. Seeing the Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, he famously argues that it is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. He posits that fear, especially the fear of punishment, provides a more reliable foundation for obedience and stability in a ruler than love, which is seen as more fickle and dependent on personal gain. The people fear yet respect the king, and he isn't even LeBron. Now that's some major influence.
Why the hell do we have Joe quoting books in our tier list? What the fuck sense does that even make?
I don't know, man. I'm just getting freaked out by that freaky smile. In a way, Joe is right, because I do fear him, and I think I'll be seeing that creepy smile in my nightmares later.
He's the kind of dude who'd offer you food with one hand and grope your ass with the other, without asking for permission first, and there's nothing you can do about it, because when you stare into his soulless eyes, you realize that there's nothing beyond the abyss, and it's an endless void of darkness, and I like that.
Feels about right. I definitely wouldn't let him near my kids.
I would. They need to learn what true fear is. That'll scare Hunter straight, and he will be a whole new man by the end of his encounter with the king.
Okay, well, Joe's weird obsession with the Burger King King aside, we now have Jack from Jack in the Box, and Jack is what happens when you lose a bet and become a mascot, and he gets a D tier because, I mean, he just looks so goddamn stupid. Good burgers from them, though.
He's like a business executive, and a clown had a child and forgot to raise it.
He looks like he asked for ketchup packets just to eat them straight. No fries, just raw condiment chugging. But I think I like that about him, and I'd personally make this rating a lot higher because as a professional swallower, I have nothing but respect for him.
Once again, that's just odd from Joe, but I mean, his head. He's literally a sphere with eyes. This seems too bland and boring for my liking, and at least we felt something from the other entries. I also just don't trust a man with a circle for a head. That's all I'll say. Something about it makes me uneasy.
Don't we all have circles for our head? That might have been the dumbest thing you've said, Barack. Well, with that shitty entry out of the way, we now have Wendy from Wendy's, and she gets a banging A tier because I would bang her. Barring that she's under the age of 18, she literally has it all. She's a redhead, has braids, square patties, and I can only imagine how soft her buns must feel. And the Don isn't just talking about burger buns.
And here you are immediately just being a weirdo the second we get a girl mascot for an entry. I would have expected this to come from Joe, but come on, Donald, I thought you were better than this.
Donald, don't listen to him because I smell you completely on this. I want her to tell me I'm not man enough for a 444 and then prove her right. I get a dominant aura from her, and I can already see her stepping on me with some of the biggest high heels you've ever seen and crushing my balls.
Can we not turn Wendy into a dominatrix?
I didn't turn her into anything. I'm merely describing her in the way that everyone else would have thought of.
Joe, she seems more like the type of person who is like one of those girls with some sass, but ultimately they'll do what you want them to do. Like she'd be the same on to yell at you and absolutely tear you down, but then take you back no matter how bad you were.
All right, that's enough. Let's move on to the next entry.
All right, well, moving on to our next one. We now have Grimace, who also happens to be from McDonald's, and just for a second realize how amazing McDonald's is because they have multiple mascots and we haven't even touched on the other ones. But Grimace is the most iconic aside from Ronald and has to be a A-tier entry, no question about it.
He is love. He is comfort. He is gelatinous grace incarnate. And I can only imagine the things that I do to his soft and round tummy and the way his eyes would look into me. I know I'd be creaming.
All right, Joe, relax now.
You know, I used to think Grimace was stupid. Then I realized I just didn't understand him. Once I had his Grimace shake, I started to finally realize that there's more to him than what he leads on.
He once held me during a thunderstorm. Not physically, but I hugged my nearest plushie and pretended it was him, and that scary night turned into a sensual love affair.
Again, Joe, please relax.
I can't promise that because that Grimace he has me begging for more.
Okay, Joe, we get it. You love yourself some Grimace and not just the shake. Either way, we have to move on because we have the Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he is the man. We love his chicken, and he's iconic as hell, and even South Park had a whole episode dedicated to him where he was some big bad mafia boss, and that alone deserves an S tier.
He looks like he's about to politely ask you to join a cult. And I would say yes. No questions asked. If anything, the Joe Dog would probably pitch the idea of joining to him.
Joe, I think even if you tried, he wouldn't let you drink any of his Kool-Aid because no one wants to be near your stinky ass.
Listen, man, I'd do anything for him. I'd pamper him and treat him like a king, and I'd even let him father my children. Even if it's biologically impossible. He'd figure it out because he's just that great.
Okay, that's some goddamn glaze, Joe, and he wouldn't want to have anything to do with your biological lineage. The Colonel has so many actually good-looking people to choose from, you'd be at the bottom. But yeah, up next, we got the Pizza, Little Caesar's Pizza, and that's all this guy says. And somehow that's his whole identity, C tier, because they definitely could have done more, but the pizza itself is to twerk for, but the mascot can definitely be more interesting.
Well, pizza to twerk for is definitely not something I'd 100% agree with, and it's something up for debate, but I will agree that the mascot is pretty mid.
Barack, do not freaking start right now, because I will crucify you if you ever dare try to insult Little Caesar's Pizza on another video.
Yeah, Barack, that Little Caesar's Pizza is what saves me on the streets and empowers me to do so much. It even saved me during a mental breakdown back in 2007.
Joe, I really don't want to hear about your mental breakdown in 2007. So we won't be doing that, and instead we will be moving on to our next entry, which is the Jolly BB, and this dude is electric. he gets an A tier. No debate, and I am more than certain that our Filipino viewers will throw their ass back for this entry.
I agree. What isn't there to like? He's a dancing, smiling bee in a chef's hat. Unironically adorable.
He's the only man who's ever looked at me and made me feel like I mattered. I once kissed a Jollibee statue in Manila, deeply, passionately. I heard music playing, and I swear he kissed back.
Joe, what the hell is wrong with you? How have you managed to kiss at least half of these mascots, and how are you in love with all of them too? Like, I don't know if I would rather hear about your cuck stories or you talking about making out with fast food mascots.
Definitely would rather hear the make-out stories rather than his cuck stories, not gonna lie. But preferably, I would rather not hear either, because this is my goddamn list and I don't want to be disgusted with these mascots. Either way, let's move on to our next entry, which is the Noid from Domino's, and this is a D tier. He was a failed mascot, so I mean, yeah, nothing more to say. More importantly, let's talk about our next entry, because I don't know what the hell Fraile was thinking when he decided to include this guy, but more importantly, let's hear what Joe has to say.
No, we are not going to talk about him. How the hell does he even count as a mascot? He was more of a spokesperson.
Listen, man, I'm not disagreeing with you, and I even have him in D tier, but like, let's hear what Joe has to say. Let's hear him out.
I don't know why you want to hear from me so much. I mean, he was a cool guy to talk to. We had a lot of common interest. Not to mention that he had Diddy parties before Diddy parties were even a thing. And you bet your bottom dollar that the Joe Dog attended every single one, and I was even a VIP member at his parties. But you guys know what separates a thief from a criminal. The fact that the thief hasn't been caught, and the same can't be said about Jared, while the old Joe Dog hasn't been caught once.
You literally are caught on film sniffing multiple kids and just people in general. And I haven't even mentioned how you quite literally confess to all of your crimes on our videos, but at the end of the day, the both of you are vile criminals in my book.
I kind of smell Joe, but a real badass just gets caught and gets his case dismissed and charges to be dropped like the goddamn Don did. But no one has my pull and aura, so it's understandable, just like how the Hardy Star has no aura. Like he's aggressively mid and will only get placed in C tier.
Smiles, he's a star. Not much else going on, just vibes.
Yeah, I'd say the same, Barry, but that's the list. A journey through some good ass and also bad food mascots.
This list wasn't just about mascots. It was about discovering ourselves, and now I know I'm in love with Grimace.
You said that last week, Joe, about that random homeless lady that was cucking you.
Yeah, but something is special about Grimace. I can feel it deep inside of my loins, and Grimace, if you're watching, call me.
Fraile, roll the outro. Before Joe starts writing fanfic.
Too late, I already got the title for chapter 1. Purple Passion and Punch Fart Boxes.
What is going on, gang-a-lang? Today we are back with another video, and it might just be the most important tier list you never knew you needed. You see, we are doing the definitive ranking of school supplies. Here with me, as always, is unfortunately Joe and Donald, so buckle up. We're about to break down some of the most crucial school supplies you gotta have to survive and thrive in school.
You know, now that we're talking about schools and stuff, is now a good time to mention what colored pencils the young kids like the best, or are we ranking it as if we're the students going to school? I just want it to be clear because I definitely know all the good school supplies to lure in the type of kid you want. You get some colored pencils for the girls, some food-smelling pencils for the fat ones, and then if you want the bad boys, well, you got to have those pens with ink in the middle that reveal a chick in a bra or something when you flip the pen upside down.
Joe, we're just ranking normal school supplies that you'd need, and definitely not what you mentioned. I don't even know why you'd have to make that clarification.
So that the audience can stay informed and know what's best.
All right, man, settle down. Well, let's start with the humble eraser. And this only gets a C tier entry because every student knows the eraser is handy, but most of them are on pencils either way. And if we're just grading that gigantic eraser people like to bring, then I have to say that it's pretty mid. Like, why the hell do you need that big old thing with you? At that point, you're doing too much, in my opinion. Like, how big of a brain fart or a shaky hand must you have for that big-ass eraser to be useful?
Well, since you mentioned brain farts and shaky hands, you may as well call out Joe because his ass is both of those, and they probably get the most use out of Joe. Like, I would not blame him one bit for carrying that big-ass thing because Joe writes like a third grader who got access to a dangerous amount of prime energy.
Well, now that we're talking about it, I remember one time I tried to eat an eraser. In my defense, it was one of those scented erasers. So really it was kind of asking for me to take a chomp out of it because it smelled like some delicious cake. And listen, They were messing with my senses, man. Like, why make something smell so good but taste so awful? Like, at that point, you may as well make the erasers edible and actually taste good because people are going to be eating it anyways.
Joe, you're absolutely stupid, and no one is going to be eating erasers except for you and the slow kids in class, which again was probably you. Honestly, if you even need an eraser, you already lost the mental game between you and your teacher. You have to assert your dominance and prove to them that you're never wrong. See, I don't make mistakes, and the only erasing I do is erasing bad deals. Bad people, bad ideas. I write things right the first time, and you should too. Erasers are for losers, and frankly, they're a waste of time. Just get it right the goddamn first time, because that's what winners do.
That seems a bit cruel and quite frankly untrue, but that's on brand for you, Donald. So I'm not surprised. Anyways, moving on to our next entry, we now have the mechanical pencil, and this gets an S tier. I was going to include normal pencils, but we're in the big 2025. There's no need to include something that people barely use unless it's to fill in bubbles on a Scantron.
Oh, hot diggity dog, I love me some mechanical, and I love collecting all the lead and then chewing on it whenever I get nervous, because whenever I'm taking exams or doing a creative writing act, I get really stressed, and chewing them helps me relax.
Joe, you're actually sped as hell, man. I really don't understand you at all, and I hope no one else does this in the comments because that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I don't even want to touch on that because that is some crazy stuff, and I won't repeat the words Donald said, but I mean, I basically feel the same way. Anyways, up next is the notebook, and really, unless you're a new age student bringing your laptop and typing everything, this is a fierce top tier item because I am personally a hater with that laptop shit because you should be writing everything down in a notebook instead. The muscle memory from writing stuff down in a paper helps with studying, and I am a firm believer in that. Get yourself a good notebook as sturdy binding and quality paper. And hot damn, you will have me creaming in my pants for once.
Notebooks. That's the thing that gets you creaming in your pants. Some goddamn boring ass pieces of paper that are on a leather or plastic back. I think this is literally the first time you've said that you were creaming in your pants, and you did it for something as boring as a school supplies tier list.
Now, Donald, don't hate on Barry because I also cream in my pants when it comes to notebooks, and especially reading people's personal notebooks, also known as diaries. I love reading people's diaries so much. It gives me a peek into their inside and personal life, and I get to be inside of their head for just a brief moment and see how their brain works. Like the other day, I was reading this hot chick's diary after I snuck into her house, and I loved the way she viewed the world because it was so full of wonder and glee. But she mentioned my future target because this person named Terry has been rummaging through her things and basically mocking her and being a terrible person, and I plan to be like Batman and beat him till he turns blue and finally teach him a lesson.
I don't know if that's noble or not, but hey, at least you're doing something kind of good. Yeah, I know. Aside from the whole invasion of privacy thing.
Oh, trust me. It'll be for the best once Terry stops bullying her and looking through her things in the playground during recess.
There's the horrible and disgusting side of the whole story. You're definitely not Batman, but you can be likened to the Predator, I guess. Well, anyways, moving on, we now have a C-tier entry in highlighters. They're pretty useful at times, but honestly, I could just underline the important stuff with a pen or pencil, and it does the same exact thing. Like, I see the value in it. Don't get me wrong, but I guess I'm just not a highlighter type of guy.
No, I do not smell you at all for this, Barack. I need highlighters in my life because when my interns or workers turn in documents to me, I demand they highlight shit because you got me all sorts of fucked up if you think I'm gonna read a whole ass boring document. Just highlight the important stuff so I can get on with my day and do more important things like go golfing or attend a brunch or dinner.
I don't know how the hell that is more important that, being the actual current president of the United States, but I know whatever I say won't change your mind, so instead let's move on to our next entry, which goes straight to the top, and that is the backpack. The unsung hero of every student's day. It carries books, lunch, and a good backpack is durable, comfortable, and organized. A bad backpack, it leaves you with sore shoulders and a hopeless mess of papers.
Bro, of course your ass is nerding out over some goddamn backpacks. Who the hell cares about this? Just pay off some people to carry all of your shit for you. It's literally quite that easy.
Donald, some of us can't do that out in the streets. I remember trying to do that with this one guy named Gerald that I met on the streets, and I instructed him to carry my wallet and other valuables because I was about to go on a crazy bender and was not about to remember anything I was going to do for the night. But the craziest thing happened because the moment I handed him everything, He told me to close my eyes and count to 100, and I did that because he must have had a good reason for it. And the second I finished counting, he is nowhere to be found. So what I gathered from all that is that the city needs a hero, and that has to be me, because the only logical conclusion is that Gerald got abducted by some evil people and he's still holding on to my stuff like a true hero. And he's waiting for his own personal hero to save him, and that may have to be me.
Joe, I think that Gerald may
No, just let him live in his fantasy.
You're right. It's probably for the best. Well, coming in at C tier is the calculator. This is basically only useful in a school setting because not a single person is going to be carrying some type of calculator out in the wild because, well, it's a calculator. We all have one of those on our phones, so they're basically obsolete aside from a class setting.
How about you calculate how many hoes you have? Oh, wait, I did that for you. The number came out to be 0.
Owned his ass right there, Joe.
Sure, let's just ignore my living wife and praise Joe for his stupid ass comment. Whatever, man, because I have a rating that will make Joe cry and feel bad all the way down to his soul because I have glue sticks going into D tier. They're useless as hell, and unless you're 7 years old, then I think you may have outgrown glue sticks for school supplies.
All right, this is a load of baloney because we all know that the glue stick is a multi-purpose tool. I can glue new pieces of paper on my spelling errors, thus making the erasure useless. I can glue pages together and make stuff double-sided, thus making the printer useless. I can glue my damn foreskin shut if I so feel like it because this is the best goddamn invention / snack in the whole goddamn world.
Did you just say snack?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a given. Don't you guys ever get a bit hungry and take a bite out of your glue sticks?
No, I really don't.
That's crazy talk. Next thing you'll tell me is that you don't huff it either, and then I'll definitely know you're lying to me.
Once again, don't even want to get into that because we all know how much you enjoy huffing glue gel. Well, on to our next entry, which is pens, and this gets a B tier entry because pens are permanent, but they just add this style and flair that normal pencils can't do, and what can I say? I'm a fan of pens, and we all do our signatures with pens, especially in the White House. Pens come in all kinds, from disposable ballpoints to luxury fountain pens. Find the one that works best for you.
Now, this is a banging entry because I'm a pen lover myself, and I personally use the best pens, gold-plated, classy. When I sign, it's historic. Bad pens ruin moments. You gotta have the best pen to make the best deals, and you all can read up on all that in the pen section of The Art of the Deal when you buy it.
You have a pens section to that book.
Shit if I know. I made that so long ago, but I probably do. You all won't know till you buy the book today.
Of course you don't know. Well, rounding off the list, we now have the flash drive, which gets a solid C tier entry. In today's digital world, these little devices carry all your homework, projects, and sometimes your entire life's work. I will admit that with the cloud and forwarding emails and such, it has made it quite redundant. But just know that the cloud could go down or you get an error in your email and there is no greater backup option than the flash drive. Hell, I keep a flash drive of all my personal files at all times, just in case any of my phones get lost or die on me and it didn't sync to the cloud.
Flash drives are like magic, tiny vaults for your stuff. I have a whole lot of flash drives for Joe purposes, and they are filled with some good stuff. Whenever the cops are hot on my tail, though, I have to microwave them and dump them in a lake because the Joe dog does not want anyone seeing what's in there, believe you me.
Oh, we definitely believe it, Joe. Unfortunately, we definitely 100% believe that whatever you have on there will get anyone put in jail.
Well, I never get rid of my flash drive with 100 gigabytes of the yaoi people make of me and Donald.
What?
What is going on, gang-a-lang? We are back with another tier list, and this time we're trading in road trip snacks and cartoon degeneracy for a little something called culture. That's right. We're doing a tier list of the top 10 most popular vacation destinations around the globe. The travel elites, and now I know some of y'all are already crying in the comments. Where's my uncle's lake house in Wisconsin? And while I'm sure that it's probably a nice lake house, we can't go and add that to the list because then everyone and their mom is going to want us to add their personal vacation spot, and we already have Joe's stupid entry. So you got me all sorts of messed up if we add someone's vacation spot in Gary, Indiana. We're only covering 10 of the most traveled, most posted, most iconic vacation spots on Earth. So pack your bags and buckle up. It's time for Barack Bali Barry Obama. The show You and I will be your guide through this journey of geographical glory.
Are you seriously calling yourself Bali Berry? No one in the goddamn world has ever called you that before, and I am sure that you spent weeks upon weeks trying to come up with that name for our tier list.
Listen, Donald, I respect the fact that Barack is trying something new for once. He just seems so full of life and energy, and I wouldn't mind calling him Bali Berry if this new version of him is more happy and relaxed. Especially if that means he's open to newer experiences, perhaps with his former vice president and ex-president of the United States, if you catch my drift, Bali Berry.
I already regret the nickname, but I'm in charge, so let's begin. We start with the classic, Paris, the city of light, the land of art, wine, and staring judgmentally at tourists. You can't deny the appeal. You've got the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the croissants, the cobblestone streets that make you feel like you're in an expensive cologne commercial. But here's the thing, it's also overhyped. Everyone and their cousin thinks they're having a life-changing moment eating a dry-ass baguette next to a sewer grate. You spend half your vacation arguing with a waiter in broken French and the other half trying to figure out why everything smells like cigarettes and existential dread. This is only gonna get an A tier. The reason is because France is like dating someone hot who's also rude, overpriced, and thinks they're too good for you.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Paris is D tier. I went there once and ordered the escargot, thinking that it was gonna be some nice and fancy hamburger or something, and they brought me back snails, and the waiter had the audacity to smile at me and looked happy as hell to serve me that slop.
You still ate it, didn't you?
Of course I did. It was actually really delicious because it had an obscene amount of butter, but the fact that they gave me some snails pissed me off so much that I then took a shit in their museum bathroom and absolutely tore it up and didn't even bother flushing.
Well, I wouldn't expect more from you, Donald, but anyways, next up we have Cancun. This is spring break heaven, the all-inclusive resort capital. If you're between 19 and 29 and recently dumped, odds are you've been here to dance your pain away next to a pool that's at least 12% tequila and broken dreams. The beaches are gorgeous, the drinks are endless, and the food is amazing. But let's be real, no one remembers Cancun. You black out the second you get there and come home with 3 new tattoos and a deep sense of confusion. Kind of like the Hangover movies, but still the vibes are immaculate. It goes in B tier.
Absolutely not. That place is basically Florida's drunk cousin. You walk 2 blocks off the resort and suddenly you're in GTA Mexico edition. I saw a guy ride a jet ski into a taco place, and the worst part is that they still served him the food.
Cancun is the only place I've been arrested and knighted. I don't remember what I did, but someone named Captain Chalupa told me I was the chosen one.
What the hell are you even saying, Joe?
I don't know anymore, but I do still have the sword they gave me.
Joe, I'm pretty sure you were at some Renaissance fair and probably made a stop at a Taco Bell and just assumed you were in Mexico. I don't have time to tell you about how wrong everything you said was, so instead we're moving on to the next entry and now we're cooking. Tokyo is an absolute dream of a destination. Futuristic skyscrapers, ancient temples, sushi so fresh it slapped me in the mouth. You want neon lights and maid cafes? Boom. You want peaceful cherry blossoms and centuries-old shrines? Boom again. It's clean, it's safe. The transit is better than any American city, and the vending machines have everything from hot soup to used underwear, and I'm not saying that I bought any, but I mean, the fact that the option was there is an amazing thing to me. This is easily S tier, no questions asked.
They had a toilet that warmed my ass. I almost defected to Japan permanently. A man can never go back to normal cold toilet seats after knowing what true bliss feels like.
You guys are hyping up Japan a lot. Makes me want to go because it has all the great things anyone would want. Used panties and warm toilet seats.
Is that really all you got out of that entire rant where me and Donald twerked all over Tokyo?
I'm afraid so, Barack.
Well, you can't fix stupid, but either way we have. Rome up next. It has some ancient ruins, gladiator vibes, pizza that tastes like God personally made it and kissed it on the forehead. The Colosseum alone is worth the flight, but the downside, love the traffic and the crime. But if I'm putting Cancun up there, why can't Rome go there either? I will place it up there as well.
I surprisingly have no comments on this. This is pretty spot on.
All right. Well, that's the first time I've ever had that happen to me. No comments from the Don, but hey, I'll take it and move on because up next we have cruises, the floating cities of sin and soft serve. I've got mixed feelings. On the one hand, everything's taken care of. You get food, entertainment, awkward bingo nights, and a 70-year-old man in an upside-down pineapple shirt who thinks he's still 25 and is going to get laid. But on the other hand, you're trapped on a boat with the same people for a week. And sometimes you don't have enough time to do all the excursions and all the fun stuff you want to do outside of the actual boat. But you know what? They're fun and they're cheap. So I think they're deserving of at least a C tier.
I love cruises. It's like being on land, but better. My favorite part is the buffet that never ends. I ate crab legs for 7 hours once. They had to cut me off, and believe you me that those workers had to get taught a lesson by the Don Mafia because no one cuts my ass off the unlimited crab legs.
I remember the one time I lost my room key and had to sleep in the laundry chute for 4 days. Befriended a rat. We shared crackers and secrets. Aside from that, it was pretty fun because I was allowed to gamble literally everything. They took all my money and the clothes off my back to the point where the workers had me twerk fully naked in order to earn my underwear back. Oh man, what great times on Carnival Cruise.
Not surprised at all that this happened on a Carnival cruise. But more importantly, talk about the Don's favorite entry up next, Barack.
Well, the Don will be happy with what I have to say about the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps and also never shuts up. New York is iconic. You can walk from a Broadway show to a bodega to a rat the size of your dog, just walking downtown with a huge slice of pizza, all in the same hour. Times Square, overwhelming. Central Park, gorgeous. The subway, well, let's not talk about that, but damn it, it's alive. It buzzes. It moves like a monster with 1,000 legs. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere and possibly get peed on by a homeless man in a Spider-Man costume. And that alone deserves the S tier.
Now this is a glaze-worthy entry right there, Barack. Bravo, man, because I was born there. I made it great and I will always call it home.
I love New York. I fed pigeons Adderall and watched them fight a drone. And of course the drone won, but damn did those pigeons put up a fight.
Joe, that was not Adderall. You probably gave it acid or something, but more importantly, we have my homeland up next, and that is Hawaii, the crown jewel of American escapism. Beaches, volcanoes, surfing, spam on everything. You touch down and immediately feel 40% less stressed. You also sweat through your shirt in 5 minutes, but it's part of the vibe. It's paradise, plain and simple. Yeah, it's expensive, but the views are worth it. This is an S-tier destination, and I'm not just saying that because I was born there.
Barack, we all know that you're only putting it this high up because you are from there, but listen, man, I will allow this spot because you let me put my precious Chuck E. Cheese. And let me tell you that a lot more people visit Chuck E. Cheese than they do Hawaii. Look it up. That's a real statistic.
Okay, I don't have the info in front of me, so I can't say that you're wrong, but somehow I still feel like it's so wrong that we even included Chuck E. Cheese on the list. Either way, we'll discuss it when we get to it because up next we got Bali. This place is heaven because it's serene, it's peaceful, and it's got monkeys that will rob you blind and then use your phone to text your ex in Bali as an A-tier destination.
I would personally argue that it's a D tier because the other year I went, a freaking monkey stole my vape, and I lost my Fruity Pebble flavored vape and it tasted as good as it sounds. I still haven't found another store that sold it to this day.
Joe, all things considered, that monkey probably did you a favor in stealing that godforsaken vape. That aside, our next edition is Dubai. It's all skyscrapers, indoor ski slopes, and malls the size of another city. It's hot. Yeah, it's extra. It's like someone gave a 12-year-old with ADHD a ton of prime energy and $1 billion and told him to build a city using only Lego instructions. It's impressive, but also exhausting. The wealth gap hits you like a punch in the face, and let's not ignore the fact that you can be arrested for public displays of affection. I'm going to be honest here, this is barely above D tier. You're not on vacation, you're in an Instagram post, you can't leave.
You had me when you mentioned the 12-year-old in prime energy, but you lost me with no displays of affection because the Joe Dog is a man of passion. And if I can't show it off to the general public, then what's the point of me being such a lover boy?
Lover boy is not what anyone would call you, but passionate could go through considering our final entry against my better judgment. We're including this because Joe insisted. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck E. Cheese. Joe, why? Why did you include this place, man?
Let me explain, Barack. Chuck E. Cheese is the perfect vacation destination if you understand it on a deeper level. Where else can you play skee ball, eat cardboard pizza, and then get assaulted by a 6-foot rat wearing a ball cap? That's called life experience. One time I went on a 7-day bender and woke up inside the ball pit of a Chuck E. Cheese in Des Moines. I had 4 prize tickets and a scar shaped like Ohio. That trip changed me.
Joe, the fact that you're having benders in a kid's place is what worries me the most. Like they can't have that much alcohol there. So what's the point of doing the bender at that place?
I am deeply unsettled that The fact that there's no alcohol is your biggest gripe with this, Donald. This is a D-tier destination, Joe. This isn't a vacation spot. It's where divorced dads take their kids when they got nothing better to do and just want to hear the inside scoops from their kids about mommy's new boyfriend.
Well, now this is some blatant bias because we all know that people love Chuck E. Cheese more than any other place on this damn list.
All right, now we're done because I do not want to argue with Joe about a damn kids' play place. We did 10 destinations, some majestic, some questionable, and one chosen by a man who should not be allowed near ball pits or children.
No, believe me, you definitely want me near the ball pits. I'm an expert navigator in that, and I'm able to pull down kids faster than a shark in water or faster than Donald wolfing down a bird.
Well, that's pretty fast.
What is going on, gang-a-lang? It's me, Joe, the Joe Head Biden, and today we're talking about the various different types of friends in the friend group. We got the loud one, the flake, the stupid one, the quiet one, the dickhead, the planner, the weirdo, and the absent dad. Have fun identifying all of yourselves in the comments because you all fall in some of these categories, except for me because I'm the hunky and hung friend in the group. But either way, I'm joined by Obama, who's legally required to be here as my emotional handler. And Donald, look at those lips. Trump.
Excuse me.
Nothing, Don, just admiring the shape of your presidency. That big and thick, juicy presidency that you got going on. Get out of here, Stacy's mom, because the Don has got it going on.
We haven't even started officially, and I already feel anxious and afraid to be around Joe.
Well, don't worry, because I feed off that fear, and it makes me stronger and harder than any type of Viagra. But yes, we will start this list, and up first is the loud friend. This beast charges into every room like they've been launched out of a cannon full of Coke and Prime Energy that got mixed in with some ketamine, and they don't enter a party normally. They announce their arrival like it's someone announcing that they tested negative for AIDS. They're funny, chaotic, and have an aura of I just snorted some fun dip in the Applebee's bathroom. They dominate group chats with 37 messages in a row, none of which make sense. They laugh like a car backfiring and speak only in capital letters. But god damn it, they bring the life. If your group was a movie, they'd be the loud, dumb side character that steals the show and maybe the protagonist's underwear. Lord knows I've done that to Donald and Barack plenty of times. They deserve a freaking A tier because they are the spark plug that breathes life into your friend group.
These people make my ears bleed. I don't think you need some loud, annoying people to make your friend group be fun. Sometimes some dudes want to chill and relax and play some golf.
While I somewhat agree, I will say that they bring energy, sometimes too much, but it balances out the quiet ones. Every friend group needs a hype man.
See, Barry gets it, and I'm glad that he is on the Joe Dog side, and it only makes me want to continue the list even more because up next we got the flake. Oh boy, this dusty son of a biscuit is the worst. They RSVP'd everything and will be the first to lie to your face. Beach trip? Hell yeah. Birthday dinner, wouldn't miss it for the world. Game night? I'm bringing snacks and drinks, and then you get a whole cum load of nothing. No show, no call, no explanation. Their excuses are always vague. Something came up, my goldfish drowned, I fell asleep in the driveway, or my uncle got in a really nasty car wreck and he really needs me right now. I am so sorry, man. Like, sure, Bob, you totally have an uncle. Even though last time I checked, your uncle was dead, probably from the car wreck, but either way, you all want to know the worst part? You still like them? Because when they do show up, it's magical. It's like seeing a unicorn, a flaky, lovable unicorn with no concept of time management or basic human commitment. They get a freaking C tier, beautiful but unreliable, like a glitter bomb in a windstorm.
We all have one. They flake 9 out of 10 times, but that one time they show up. It makes it all worth it. Kind of.
Flakes a week. If you make a plan and don't show up, you should be taxed or sent to Guantanamo Bay. Because if I ever personally invite you to anything, you better be twerking your ass off over the fact that you got invited to something by me and drop everything and go. I don't care if it's the birth of your first kid or your parents' funeral. You cannot flake on me because that's like directly disobeying your king, and you should get smited if you dare disobey me.
Donald, you ever flake on someone emotionally? You ever say you'd be there, but deep down you knew you'd leave them cold, naked, trembling in the bathroom floor, screaming out your name because you wish they were there?
No, Joe. And I feel like you're just saying that about me because you've probably imagined me being nice to you in one of your dreams. Again, I want to remind you that you are the last person I'll call for anything, and I would rather hang out with Hunter than you almost any day of the week.
Notice how he said almost, guys. That means the Don has a soft spot for me and definitely loves me. But either way, let's talk about our next person because this one's precious. We now have the stupid one, the group's pet rock. The ones that say stupid things like how the earth is round and how we revolve around the sun. They don't understand basic geography, think Europe isn't a country, even though we all know that Europe is the biggest country on Earth. I remember this one dumb guy even asked me if I really thought there are lizard men out in society, and I had to lecture his dumb ass and explain to him about how the eventual lizard uprising is coming. But you love these idiots because their brain might be mush, but their heart is pure, and they bring something irreplaceable. Innocence, and then you can turn that innocence into something impure as you defile them mentally and sometimes physically. They're the ones who say we don't need directions. I got vibes. They belong in A tier. Dumb as bricks, but bricks that love you.
Joe, what you described sounds like something a normal person would say, and really you seem like the dumb one, but yeah, sure, as long as they're harmless, then the stupid friend can be the most loyal one. Like an old dog that keeps walking into screen doors.
Honestly, this just seems like Joe. But subtract any of the lovability and just take all the negatives, and that's you, Joe. You've said so many dumb things on this channel that I'm just in awe every single time anything comes out of your mouth, because I swear your brain is smoother than a rabbit.
Donald, if you want to say you love me, just go ahead and say it, because I'm feeling a weird sexual tension behind all this, and I'm oddly turned on.
You're definitely not reading the situation correctly, because I have a serious hatred and deep-rooted disdain for you.
How about you disdain this dick, Donald? But only after the video, because up next we got the quiet one, my sweet shadow. They never say much. You think they're shy, but they're just observing, gathering data, learning which one of you will be the first to lose it during the apocalypse. They're the one who shows up once every 3 months, sits in the corner, drops one devastating one-liner, then disappears into the night like an introverted Batman. They never text first. They've never sent a meme. But they've seen every single embarrassing thing you've done, and they remember it all. They've seen every single thing about you, and they deserve a solid B tier. Low volume, high value, possibly a killer, but who knows?
I've always liked this friend. They can be underestimated. They carry the emotional weight nobody else notices, and sometimes they're those dudes who just let others be the life of the party. They'll let you go off and drunkenly twerk to some Megan Thee Stallion, but I know that if you ever get in any trouble, then they'll be there for you.
Solid analysis, Barry, but we have you up next because we got the dickhead. The alpha male reject, the friend who talks the loudest, insults people the most, and somehow thinks calling you beta makes them a comedian. They bench press once a month and won't shut up about it, and they call their exes crazy. They once punched a vending machine and called it therapy. But every group keeps them. Why? Nobody knows. Maybe he has a cool boat. Maybe he owns the only working grill. Maybe he once saved you from a homeless person hopped up on Percocets who was chasing you around with a spork, and you accidentally pissed yourself, and for whatever reason you won't tell anyone about it and you feel indebted. Whatever it is, he's still here, still obnoxious, still wearing sunglasses indoors and referring to the girls as huz. They get a freaking C tier. He sucks. But you need him when it's time to throw hands.
I don't know how the hell this is me when it just seems like we're talking about Donald, but whatever.
This is slander, and I am the best part of every group. Everyone would be thankful to have the Don as a friend, and I am definitely not the dickhead.
You can be mean sometimes, but honestly, Donald, I wonder if deep down you just need a hug, maybe from behind, maybe in the moonlight, maybe while Creed plays softly in the distance and you suddenly feel something poke you from behind, but you don't know what it would be considering both my hands are on your chest.
Stop it, Joe. One more joke like this, and I'm leaving the call.
Okay, Joe, relax, man. This is enough, man. We can't have Donald leave the call because of your jokes.
Maybe to you guys it's a joke, but hey, I guess we all just want to shit on the Joe dog when he's his most vulnerable. But hey, let me just power through my tears and go on with the list, because up next we have the planner, the unsung god. The one keeping your feral group from devolving into a sloppy mess that seems like something straight out of the Hangover movies. This is the friend with structure, with a spreadsheet, with a backup plan for the backup plan. They remember birthdays. They bring Band-Aids. They make the reservation while everyone is still blackout drunk, and without them, your friend group would have collapsed into a swamp of missed calls and vomit. They need to be in S tier. The spine, the rock, the friend who deserves a medal.
Thank you. I do deserve to be that high because you all know that I am the planner, and I carry all of you ungrateful goblins on my back.
Way to go, Barack. You call yourself the planner and pat yourself on the back when no one else claimed that it was you. Go ahead and take that joke compliment, because it really doesn't mean much. It's like being given a medal for participation.
It's still something, so I'll take it.
I mean, you're good at taking it, so I'd say you're doing a wonderful job. Up next, we got an odd one that I personally don't think fits into our friend group, because that is the weirdo. They show up wearing a suit and tie, drinking almond milk smoothies from some healthy vegan place. They eat their steak medium rare. They love to file taxes and obey the law. They're just some weird-ass individuals, and yet they complete the group. When things get weird, they get weirder. They get AB tier. Never understood them personally, but I guess it adds some diversity to the friend group.
It just sounds like you're describing a normal person from Los Angeles or something. A real weirdo is you, Joe. Like the other week, you kept quoting obscure anime that we never heard of called I Can't Believe My Little Sister Is This Cute. And you make up dances for however you're feeling, but I will admit that your crying dance was pretty funny, but you also claim to have the ability to talk to squirrels, and you once tried to start a religion based on grimace.
Yeah, all those things are normal. I don't get what you mean, man.
Joe, in no way are you the normal one. If you're the normal one, then I may as well be the ugly and uncharismatic friend in this opposite world you're making in your dementia-ridden mind.
You could have said that you were the skinny friend, and that analogy would have made a whole lot more sense, Donald.
Listen, man, I'm big-boned and have lots of muscle, and we've been over this plenty of times.
Yeah, and if he were skinny, then the Trump rump would not be operating, and the Lord knows I can't live without it. Either way, up next, we have the absent dad, the man, the myth, the legend, the one who's always in the group chat but never at the events. He's locked down, shackled, relationship jail. He says next time more than a therapist does, but when he does show up, my God, it's electric. He hugs everyone so good and doesn't get bothered by your chub. He buys drinks and tells stories that make you cry and laugh and question your entire childhood. Then he disappears again. Back to the void, back to the family, the girlfriend, the life he chose over you, and only because he let the huzz choose. He gets a B tier, gone too soon, but unforgettable.
We all become the absent dad eventually. It's just age and fear of drinking so much around Joe because he makes you feel unsafe.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm a very fun and safe person to drink with. I'll help you go to sleep real soon and good.
Therapy exists. I'm, going to start attending it because of all the things you've done to me, Joe.
You owe me years of my life back, Joe. I feel violated, emotionally and definitely legally.
See you in my dreams later, Donald. Bring the cologne this time for when we get frisky.
What is freaking going on, gang-a-lang? We are back with another tier list, and this time we're not ranking cookies or cartoon princesses. We're talking about the end of the goddamn world, and that's going to include any type of apocalypse. I'm talking about zombies, nuclear fallout, societal collapse, any type of situation you can think of. We will be prepared for it because when that day comes, you won't have your phone working to read up on your Twitter feed or all the Instagram baddies that are probably gone by now. Instead, it'll be you, the ruins of civilization, and whatever crap you were smart enough to shove into your bag. That's why the Don is here to lay down the definitive list of what items you need to survive the apocalypse. I'll be making the final calls because let's be honest, if there's one man who could survive a global disaster, it's me. Well, unless you count Joe's uncanny way of always surviving anything his way. But I'm more like the actual badass people you see in the survival movies, while Joe is like some sort of grimy cockroach that survives despite everything going absolutely badly for him.
Listen, hate all you want, but the Joe Dog has a tried and true survival method, and I can live off almost anything. I have lived weeks upon weeks on these mean streets eating only cigarette butts and some old gum that people would either spit out or stick to the side of buildings. I have the ultimate survival instinct because I am the man who requires the least maintenance, and quite frankly, I don't know why I wasn't put in charge of this list.
Joe, you literally begged us to include a fleshlight on this list. I don't think you'd be surviving based on what you prioritize, because I can assure you that no one else in the goddamn world would be even thinking about packing that in a limited space bag meant for an apocalypse.
Okay, well, that's not fair. How are you going to criticize my pick when you had absolutely nothing to say about Donald, including the Nintendo Switch 2, which, by the way, he has yet to let me play Mario Kart World with him because he's a mean poopy head.
Joe, don't even come at me for the Switch 2 entry, because that's my pride and joy. It's my baby, and the reason why I don't let you play it is because you always leave the controller sticky, despite you not having any food in your hands. It's like you're naturally sticky and gross. And either way, I know this is going to be a list for the common folk because my ass will be enjoying my Switch 2 in my bunker with a bunch of generators and other wealthy people, and most likely hella baddies. But enough of that, because we're starting the list off, and up first, we got a banger with the multi-tool. And this baby's got everything: blades, screwdrivers, bottle openers, pliers, and that one hook no one knows how to use, but you pretend you do so people don't think you're soft. This thing is survival in your pocket, S tier. non-negotiable, because this is literally probably one of the most valuable things you can have, given that it can adapt to any environment or need that you may have.
Completely agree, and there will be a ton of uses for it in a post-apocalyptic setting. It's just way too handy and easy to use.
And that is why this item is essential. Even a goblin like Joe can use it. But anyways, up next we got canned food. I'm talking about the classics: Spam, beans, canned chili, you name it, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't expire, and you can drop it off a building, and it'll survive better than 60% of America. It's ugly and it's heavy, but it'll keep your stomach filled. And more importantly, it'll keep your scared ass alive in a fallout bunker while you listen to the screams of the people you won't accept into your bunker just echo across a barren landscape. This has to get an A tier, could be S, but I dock it for weight and portability. This item is only really useful if you already have a bunker ready and stocked up with a ton of it like the Don does, but it's still an excellent resource and could even be used to barter with the psychos out there in the wasteland.
Solid placement. High calorie, shelf stable, and you can repurpose the cans into something else for later usage, like, I don't know, maybe to collect rainwater or something.
Listen, man, I love this entry because I don't have a bunker. But whenever I'm dumpster diving and find half a can of spaghetti or something, I twerk my ass up in the air and start busting down on that thing because I know I'm going to be eating like a king later that night.
That is actually so funny and a little sad to hear. It's way more funny than sad, so I'm more than pleased hearing that comment from Joe. But either way, we now have this important ass item, because up next we got water purifiers. We take clean water for granted, but when the world ends, your little Brita filter won't save you from drinking from a mud puddle full of rat piss and microplastics. Well, honestly, our water already has tons of microplastics, but let's just replace that with nuclear waste or pollution in general. See, you need something to filter, boil, or otherwise cleanse that thing, because dehydration will clap your cheeks faster than any zombie. Like, honestly, I would rather just get eaten alive or die by the hands of raiders than to slowly dehydrate, and because of that, this is a solid S-tier entry.
I mean, this is cool and all, but do you really need that fancy-ass water purifier when just getting a pan full of water and boiling out all the impurities does the same thing? Like, I've seen Survivor too many times to know that I won't need all that for clean water.
Well, Barack, can you boil out shrapnel from your water or human feces? I don't think so, and I think Donald has the right idea. But listen, the best thing to do is to drink out of dirty puddles on purpose. It helps build my immunity, and I'm literally doing it now as we speak. I got a water bottle full of random lake and puddle water. So you guys just don't know how it is to survive out on these mean streets like the Joe Dog does.
I just want to say that you're going to die first, Joe, but sadly, a big piece of me really thinks that you'd live through any apocalypse. Like, I can totally see you becoming a goddamn ghoul from Fallout and just living way past any normal human and continuing to annoy everyone till we inevitably die. God, that is such a scary thought. Joe bothering me till the end of my life. I shudder at the thought of it. So let's just move on, because up next we got a flashlight. Now, this might not seem good on the surface, but let me tell you something. You're gonna feel real dumb when you're crouching in the ruins of an abandoned building trying to scavenge for supplies, and you don't have a flashlight. So you're just sitting there in the pitch dark hoping your eyes can see, but before you know it, you get eaten by a radioactive Joe Biden. See, a flashlight lets you see, blind the enemy, and signal allies. This has to be at least an A tier at minimum, because it's good, reliable, but useless without batteries unless you're rocking one of those weird crank ones. But I swear, those aren't that useful, and unless you gave it to someone who is used to cranking it every day like Joe, you'll waste more energy than what it's worth.
And this has to be at the top, bro. You can just buy a solar-powered flashlight, and you'd essentially have energy forever if you charge them properly. Without this, I fail to see how you'd even survive the apocalypse.
Wow, look at Barack here with his fancy and expensive solar flashlight. Listen here, pal, I am speaking for the everyday man out in the world, and most times out of 10, they do not have a solar-powered flashlight.
Okay, but they're like 20 bucks on Amazon. I feel like that's not a crazy thing to have.
Oh my God, man, can you just shut up, because this is my list. Instead, let me talk about our next entry, and here we go. Now, Barack was extremely against this being on the list, And I frankly didn't care because I can see the appeal to someone who gets no play like Joe, and he even said it was more essential than oxygen. And so here we have the fleshlight, the silicone tube of shame. It's not a tool, not a weapon, not a shelter, just a moist tube to possibly relieve some stress into while the world burns. I'm putting this in D tier, only because it might stop Joe from humping some mutants.
You fools! In the darkness of despair, when the air is poisoned and your only companions are rats named Carl, you'll learn. The fleshlight is hope. The fleshlight is therapy. The fleshlight is going to be there for you when times are tough, and it will never abandon you. And the best part is that you don't even have to clean them when you're done, because it'll help lubricate you for next time.
That is the biggest cry for help I have ever seen, and I am so happy that I am going to ignore it. Well, up next, we got solar chargers. You stick it in the sun, and boom. You're juicing up your various devices like your GPS, phone, vape, or whatever you manage to scavenge from a corpse. No electricity, no problem. As long as the sun still exists, you can power your devices like my glorious Switch 2 that Joe cannot have nor can he play. This, of course, gets an S tier, and the only way this would not work out in your favor is if we enter post-nuclear winter. And if that's the case, you'll just have to rely on your good old-fashioned generators to supply juice for your Switch 2.
Why do you keep bringing up the Switch 2? We get it. Man, it's not even like they're hard to buy. It's just not worth it right now because there's only one game.
He's taunting me, Barack. He knows how bad I want to play it. And I remember one time he pulled up on me with his nice Lambo, and I saw him playing it inside, and I asked him if I could play, and he said no and laughed and threw spare change at me. But the joke is on him because I am now 30 cents closer to buying a Switch 2.
You really need to set your priorities and order man.
Well, I'm glad you're 30 cents closer, Joe, because I know damn well you'll never own a Switch 2 anytime soon. Now we have another banging entry because we have man's greatest tool next to steak knives and Playboy because fire starters are so damn important. I'm talking flint and steel, ferro rods, the real good stuff, because you need a fire when you need to cook, warm up, scare off wild animals, signal for help, and probably a bunch of other things. And because of that, this is a banging A S tier entry in my books.
Fire speaks to me. I love the way it burns so bright. And every time I start one, I just want to continue fueling the rage and see things burn and burn. Nothing will satisfy me until I've seen every single little thing burn beautifully into ash and blow like dust in the wind.
You know, I forget he's a bit of a pyromaniac. I forgot what video he had a similar little rant. But then again, it's Joe, and that man has a million problems.
Yeah, it's best if we just ignore it, but if we ever get caught by Joe in the apocalypse, don't be surprised if he roasts us alive purely for his entertainment. But either way, up next, we got another banger, a backpack. You can have all the gear in the world, but if you're waddling around with it in a plastic shopping bag, you're gonna die tired. And you need durability, space, straps that don't snap the second you sprint from a zombie horde. A good backpack is your survival loadout. Without it, you're just an idiot holding all your stuff. And this is a very easy S tier.
You know, I'm glad we were able to give the backpack a top tier rating in both the school supplies tier list and this video. It makes me happy.
Of course, that would make your nerd ass happy. Let's instead talk about something badass like gas masks. And these bad boys are inevitable. Air quality is going to be ass with all the chemical warfare, possible spores, rot, and whatever else is going to be out there in the wastelands. And these get a B tier because while they're useful as hell, let's be honest, unless it's an apocalypse like The Last of Us, you're going to be somewhat okay without one.
You know, funny that you would mention gas masks because I once made a contraption where I connected a tube to my gas mask and the other end was in someone's fart box, and I made sure they ate a ton of hard-boiled eggs and other stinky stuff so that when they fart, I'd be making my own personal Dutch oven with the gas mask, and the only thing I was allowed to breathe was their sweet and savory farts that I made sure to enjoy every single last whiff of them.
Oh God, please. Let's just talk about something else because that just created the most disgusting image in my head, and I don't want to imagine Joe in that situation at all. And let's just go to some eye bleach and admire the Switch 2 that I have next on our tier list. And listen, I am not going to be biased. And I will place my beloved Switch 2 right into C tier right off the bat. I understand, and I am a sensible man who knows that it's not going to be very useful for a post-apocalypse type of situation. But listen, stress relief is a factor. And I know that I will mentally be better than ever in any type of situation if I am able to play my Switch 2 in my comfy bunker while Joe is out there finding scraps to survive off of, all while still not having played Mario Kart.
You are starting to actually get on my nerves, man. When we get nuked, I'm going to make sure to come for your sweet, delicious ass first, Donald.
Go ahead and try to come at me, bro, because I will have our next entry to protect me, because we got weapons up next, and I'll be ready to demolish you with literally anything at my disposal, whether it be guns, knives, bats wrapped in barbed wire, even a sharpened toothbrush or soap in a sock for a makeshift flail. These obviously get an S-tier entry, especially now that Joe basically put me on his #1 to-do list.
You're #1 on a lot of my lists, Donald, let it be known.
That is not comforting at all. But up next, we got something that Joe normally doesn't think about at all, and that is hygiene products. I'm talking about soap, toothbrush, wipes, toilet paper. These get a C tier because they're not flashy, but keeps you alive longer, especially when infections start showing up, and possibly more importantly, they keep my baddies nice and fresh for the pool in my underground bunker.
You had solid reasoning at the start, but you lost me with the baddies comment. But yeah, it helps prevent infections, I guess, so good on you, Donald.
Well, I mean, I do have to keep the baddies clean, Barack. You sound like you want some Stinky Joe smelling girls, and we can talk about that later once I send you the invite to my private bunker. But either way, let's end the list off with the classic radio, and it doesn't matter if it's a crank or solar-powered survival radio, because a radio tells you where the safe zones are, where not to go, which cities have been turned into cannibal-infested wastelands, and the Don knows that information is everything, thus I am giving it an A tier.
Wait, did I hear that correctly earlier? You're going to be giving me and Barack invites to your private bunker? Oh man, for a second I thought you didn't like me or something. I am so happy that I'm getting an invite too, and I can probably finally play the Switch 2 when that day comes. You know, I'm kind of hoping for the apocalypse to happen now.
Well, that's the end of the list. And a reminder again, Barack. Make sure to check your mailbox and email for the address and entry code for the bunker.
Well, do Donald, I'll make sure to bring in some nice amenities, since it sounds like you have all the basics for survival ready.
I might be mishearing this conversation, but you only said Barack's name, but I'm sure you're implying me too, right, Donald?
Sounds good, Barry. Can't wait to have you, because things are looking really dicey right now, so it might be sooner rather than later.
Funny guy with the jokes, man. You still use the same PIN code as always, right?
You know what, man? I am looking forward to having a man who is worthy of being a part of my two-man with all the baddies, as Joe just struggles for shelter and food as the nuclear waste just falls on him. And most importantly, he will have no electricity to play the Switch 2, even if he manages to get his hands on it.
I see how it is. You're going to keep ignoring my cries for help, Donald. You're actively taunting the Joe dog. And this includes you too, Barack, because you didn't want to vouch for me and you guys continue to play hardball. Well, we will see who will be begging who for help once I gather my army full of raiders and mutants to see you two during the final battle. Then we'll really see who won't let the Joe dog play the Nintendo Switch 2